Good morning and welcome to another 30 Minutes with Jan. This morning's quite interesting. We've had some tsunami warnings. Let me just get this camera a bit straighter, a bit skew. Had some tsunami warnings on the island, but nothing big has yet happened. But this morning it's not about me, it's all about Pieter Lemmer. Pieter Lemmer is a job search coach. Pieter, am I saying that right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Good morning, Pieter. How are you?
Well, thanks on yourself, Jan. Thanks for having me on the show.
You are down in Auckland, eh?
Yes, the big city.
So how's the weather there this morning? Because that's what everybody would want to know.
It's chilly, rainy, normal winter's day.
Okay. Peter, we had some questions that we think we should ask you. You made the move from South Africa to New Zealand 9 years ago, basically. What was the hardest lesson you learned about job hunting in this, I want to say, Kiwi culture?
Yeah, very good question. I think the biggest lesson I learned is that there's a huge difference in the cultures between South Africa and New Zealand. Honestly, we are like North Pole and they are South Pole. South Africans, we've got a name, the Kiwis know us as direct, arrogant, abrasive, and entitled. And I've noticed that just in my dealings with the Kiwis, and actually I've seen it in my clients that I've coached over the years, that big difference creates a lot of problems for people job hunting in the market and even in the workplace. So I help people prepare if they get a job, also how to deal with a workplace. After they've got their job offer, I still continue my services and helping them settle in as well.
So I just want to say good morning to everybody. Good morning, Vanita. There's a few other that I can't bring on screen, but good morning to everybody who says good morning. Peter, coming to today, you've got presumably about 1,000 migrants. In one sentence, what's the core promise you make every new client?
My core promise is that I'm honest and direct as a South African is. I'm going to give you the truth, and you might not like it sometimes, but I've been in the industry. I've helped 1,000 people, and I know what is going to work for you in the market and what is not. So I'm going to give you the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Oh, yeah, this is so easy and this is so that. I'm going to tell you, look, might be a hard, it's going to take a few months. Or you need to change your approach, or you need to change your. I've told people before that they're way too arrogant for this market. They need to tone down, and I promise to be honest with you.
All right. So basically, you break up this journey into 3 modules, and you call this the Pete principle. What is the Pete principle?
Yeah, well. It was never intended to be a play on my name, but I'll get to the Piat principle now a bit later. But the 3 modules I have is the first module is helping you set up your CV and your cover letters, or how to modify your cover letter to each job.
So you help write the CV, is that right?
Yeah, what I do is I actually go through a whole process where we first analyze the client. I go through and we look at what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and I have a whole sort of set of spreadsheets which we work through step by step. Yeah. We go through each of those things and we first build up you. What are your strengths? What are your value adds that you bring to the party? And it's sometimes very difficult and takes quite a while to extract it out of people because it's a different concept than writing a CV. I see very few CVs coming with us to me, but when we're finished with the process, people say, oh, wow, I didn't know, I'd added so much value in my jobs before. The second part of the process is the second module we go through is the LinkedIn networking module. People in South Africa don't really know how powerful LinkedIn is. It's not a job searching tool. It's actually a business tool, and Kiwis use it as a business tool. I remember in South Africa when I managed large companies, when a guy was on LinkedIn, boy, he's out the door in the next 2 months kind of thing because he's looking for a job. Here, it's your duty to be on LinkedIn and to network and to learn. It's an incredibly powerful tool to learn the latest technologies, to learn what other companies are doing, to learn what your opposition's doing. So in New Zealand, they actually expect you to be on LinkedIn. So start working with LinkedIn and start getting network. But we build up a powerful LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Then I also go and I teach you how to use LinkedIn and to start networking at 5 different levels. Instead of the 1 or 2 levels that you think you should be operating at. And then the third module is our interview coaching module. You can have the best CV, you can have the best LinkedIn network profile, but if you don't sell yourself properly at an interview, you can really fail. And a lot of people I've seen at the finish line sort of fail, and they sort of, wasn't I successful? It's just how you carry yourself across, how you come across with confidence. And the Piat principle is you've got to tick 5 boxes for somebody to say, I'll hire you. And the 5 boxes is the Piat principle. And the first one is you've got to come across as professional. The first is you've got to illustrate your experience, that you have experience in the role. The third letter E is for expertise. You've got to show them that you're an expert in your field, that they are going to struggle to find somebody else with your expertise. A stands for authority. You've got to show that you're an authority in your field and in your job, that you're not just like everybody else who's just done this job for 20 years and just is, I come to work to get a salary. I don't come to work to make a difference. So you've got to show you're an authority. And the T, there's the most important one, is trust. You've got to show them that they can trust you. New Zealand is very different to South Africa in that, South African maybe get away with a little white lie, or it's sort of the norm. But in New Zealand, the slightest little doubt or bit of trust you lose with anybody, employers, anybody, you're written off in New Zealand. It's a very, very honest society. And the slightest little mistake, a difference in your profile between LinkedIn, your CV, your Seek profile, they go, is this guy really being honest? Or is he just giving me enough information to make me hire him, and then he's going to wing it? So, yeah, and also networking, and I teach you how to approach the hidden market, which is 70% of jobs are in the hidden market, where you network your way into a job. A word of mouth for referral in New Zealand weighs a lot more than just a CV in a pile. And if you can get that across, if you tick those 5 boxes, you'll get the job.
Okay. I was going to ask you something. The big story these days is AI. Yeah. Everybody's AI. You can do everything with AI, except the thing can't boil water. So most people try to do their CVs with AI. What is the difference of doing your CV by yourself or by somebody like you, a human, versus AI?
The big difference is that AI takes the 10 million other people doing exactly the same job as you and gives you the CV exactly the same as the other 10 million people. You want to differentiate yourself from yourself and the other 10 million. AI doesn't know you personally, and doesn't know your achievements, your successes, the awards that you've won, the personality you bring across. So there is a role in AI, but I've received CVs, and I immediately know the person has read or used AI, because firstly they use big words, they use long sentences, and they put big words on top of each other. And when I read it, I say, well, and also it doesn't mean anything, because it's just saying it's taken a generic job description and just restrung it together with lots of big words. And the recruiters actually and employers are noticing that the CVs are just all looking the same, sounding the same. So you've got to now, and a recruiter the other day on a podcast I was listening said that nowadays a personalized CV actually stands out way better than a AI written CV.
One thing about LinkedIn, and myself on LinkedIn, sometimes feel overwhelming. What's one quick win that you can teach migrants so that they are seen and respected by New Zealand employers before they even land?
one thing is there's 5 different levels that I teach job searching candidates, and I teach them to connect at 5 different levels, and they're the different levels of business. And with those 5 levels, you start having a lot of multiple touch points where they can find you or connect with you. And I always equate it to buying a car. When you're looking to buy a car, you don't know about that car, and you don't see it driving around you. But as you want to buy, let's say, a Ford Ranger, and you now want to buy a Ford Ranger, you suddenly see these Ford Rangers driving around you, and you're like, where did they all come from? They were there, but they never noticed them. You never noticed them. That is what, on LinkedIn, if you're operating at all these different levels, the employers, the recruiters, the people will sort of see you coming past, and when they're looking for somebody like yours, oh, wait a minute, here he is. But you've got to be present in the market, and you have to be operating and be active in that market for them to notice you.
Let's take a question, Peter. Rita asking, Peter, what is the job market like to find a job or find a new job if you are made redundant?
The job market is, I think internationally, job markets are tough. There's been, the whole world is in recession, especially with the wars going on and with the problems we're having. But and that is why it's important to constantly keep working at keep your CV up to date, keep your CV up to date on Seek, keep your LinkedIn while you're still working, keep networking, so that when you are networking with your peers in your industry. I mean, there's only 5 million people in New Zealand compared to the 60 million in South Africa. And the industries are small, and everybody starts to get to know each other. And if you continue networking while you're in New Zealand, when I've seen a lot of my clients who, and some of them have lost their jobs due to economic downturns and things, they pick up a job much quicker because they start connecting with their networks and their people, and they start just arranging coffee meetings. I teach you how to set up your own meetings and coffee meetings. I teach you how to use the subtleties that are required in New Zealand. And because you're visible and because you're on LinkedIn, you tend to be able to find a job much quicker if you networked. The job market, yes, is there's been a chatter to a recruiter. The other day said they used to have 40 people apply for a job. There's now 400 people applying for a job. And that's where I also help people use AI. AI has a role, as I said, to help them to apply for jobs. But I use a double-edged strategy where you apply for a job, but you also use LinkedIn to network with that company and to make them aware that you have applied for the job. Your CV just doesn't lie in the pile. You tell them, hey, my CV is sitting there.
Yeah. I've got Vanita asking this question as well. So it says, a lot of recruiters using AI software to sift out candidates. How do you get past the AI system? Because that's rather important.
Okay. So how it's called the ATS system, automatic tracking system. And with that, what happens is that AI is just sees numbers, letters. And what these recruiters do, and big corporates can afford it, and even Seek uses the ATS system. And all it does is says, I've got 20 or 30 keywords that I want the candidates to conform to have in their CV. If you don't have those, and it ranks you and it says, right, you've got 15 out of the 30. So you're only 50%, and it automatically bins you. You're in file 13. They will never even look at your CV. So I'm actually developing a new website, which is launching in the next 2 to 3 weeks, which I'm using an AI my developers using AI bots and things. And I'm going to have 2 bots, but the one bot is going to be a bot where you can put in your CV and you can put in the job advert, and it will then recommend to you what to write in your CV to match that job advert more. So you get up to the 80-90% match. And but you mustn't, and I'm warning people, don't lie about your CV and say, oh, I've got all this experience, and you don't have it, because when you land in New Zealand and they say, but that said this on your CV, that's the trust part. They will get rid of you way quicker than what you even arrived if you've been seen to be lying on your CV, and that's a no-no in New Zealand. The other bot that I'm having on my website is an interview bot, which it asks you questions, you answer it. It then analyzes your answer, and it then gives you a recommended answer, a better model answer.
One of the questions was, culture clash is real. What's one New Zealand workplace norm that surprises newcomers, and how do you prepare them for it?
It's called the tall poppy syndrome, and it's very well known. South Africans come. Sorry?
And it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah, every client. Yeah. So what happens is that South Africans come, because we got much bigger corporations, we got much more responsibility in South Africa. We come in here and sort of look at this and say, "Whoa, this is quite easy. I can do this in my sleep." But you've got to come across very subtly in the beginning. And I teach my clients the first 3 months, just lie low on the radar screen, and don't make yourself look or try and stand out above. Don't make your boss look as if he doesn't know his job, or your peers that they are incompetent, because they will chop you down so quickly. And I've seen it happen in a month or 2 months, that people hate their jobs. They want to pack their bags and go back to South Africa because they just didn't in the beginning just settle down. And my advice to people is, when they land here, is the first 3 months, lay low. When everybody goes home at 5 o'clock and put their pen down, you put your pen down and you go home. You don't want to be seen to be showing up. The others are being lazy. You're prepared to work overtime and work hard. The difference in the cultures here as well is that in South Africa, you should be seen to be making a huge difference in the first 3 months. It's totally the opposite. The first 3 months, you shouldn't be making a huge difference and changing everything. Settle down for 3 months. As I said, lay low on the radar screen. And all you got to do is to just start understanding the culture, start understanding how things work. And I say to them in a meeting, if people ask in a meeting, what's everybody's opinion, you allow everybody else to give their opinion. And in the end, you say, well, I like this idea and I like the idea. How if we massage it this way? You make other people think it's their idea to bring about the change that you want. And it's quite an art in the beginning for a South African to keep quiet and not want to solve everything immediately. But you have to, because it really has severe consequences if you don't. So, tall poppy syndrome is very real.
It's very real. Is there somebody saying that they have used a New Zealand CV writer only to find out they used AI? And she didn't get any responses from anybody anyway. So, There's another question popping up for you from Dennis Swanepoel saying, I have found that recruiters are scared off if they see accredited employer pathway visa. Why is that?
Reason being is, firstly, a recruiter is only as good as their last month of sales. Now, for somebody to get, and Vanita can help you with the immigration side of things, is that it takes 2 to 3 months to get a migrant from South Africa into New Zealand. They have to be accredited. They have to apply for the job check. The person's got to come across to the country. So when somebody resigns and you need somebody urgently, they need somebody within the next 30 days. You will not tick that box. So that's the first thing. Second thing, the recruiter then also has targets to meet, and you're only a 3-month away target. He could be fired by then because he hasn't achieved his target.
All right. I've got another question for you. Your interview coaching uses the STAR method and video practice sessions. How does that translate into real dollars for clients?
How I go through the interview process is I have with the STAR method, it's all about giving a situation, the actions you took and the results you obtained. And I teach people how to get their value add across and the results. Now, if you're an employer, and I've been most of my career in South Africa in manufacturing in businesses, I've been the employer and the interviewer. and you've got certain problems in your company that you want this new employee to fix. And as you give answers and you say, well, I saved us $10,000 on this situation, and I created a $50,000 order on this situation. And I work very largely on a subconscious level, messaging, which you bring across to employers and people the whole time. And you subconsciously, that person, employer there, is ticking boxes in his head, and he's saying, okay, if he can save me $10,000 there, and he can save me $50,000 there, and you add up all the numbers subconsciously in his brain, the brain is tricking him into thinking, well, and if he sits at the end and he's looking at, should I pay this guy, $75,000 or 80, or the 85 is the norm and what he should be paid. But if they got doubts about you that you're actually going to add value, they'll start you off on the 75,000, and in 6 months' time, they'll only then raise you to the 85. But if you convince them in the interview that you're going to bring in, $10,000 worth of savings in the first month, or 2 months, 3 months,
yeah,
then they're going to pay you the 85,000, because also the market here is very small, and you get poached very quickly. If other companies, because every company knows everybody and who's doing what here. It's a small little village, I can tell you.
it is very small.
And with that, they're going to offer you the $85,000 instead of playing games with the $75,000 first. So you can start off easily with a $10,000 difference in your salary.
That's interesting. Back to the first question we had, Benita just saying it takes 6 to 9 months now to get an offshore migrant in. Internal recruiters don't have sales targets. I find this refreshing compared to the recruiter hitting a sales target. So it takes a bit longer than normal just these days to get somebody into New Zealand again, eh?
Yes, that's right. Internal recruiters don't have sales targets. That's correct, yes, for large corporates.
But I mean, there's more external recruiters, I think, than there is internal recruiters.
Oh, there's more external recruiters in this country than I think the whole of South Africa. And that's the weirdest thing. Every shopping center has a recruiter or 2 recruiters in them.
Yeah.
The biggest amount of, because there's a lot of movement in jobs within the country. People get upset with their boss the one day, and the next day they've resigned.
Okay.
I've never seen so many recruiters in my life.
Peter, you just don't coach the principal visa applicant. You insist on including the partner as well. What does that, or how does that make a cost difference to the families?
New Zealand, as we all know, is not a cheap country to live in. So when you're spending rands or spending dollars, but you're only paying with rands, it really hurts your pocket. And 90% of families that come across, the spouse or partner has to work as well to support the family and the children and the lifestyle and everything. And the quicker the partner gets a job, the quicker you're going to stop spending rands. Your hard-earned savings you brought across, which have taken a 0 off the end of the number. So if you come prepared into the market and you know where your partner is going to live in which city, we focus your job search onto that city area. So you can land with coffee meetings set up, interviews set up before you even arrive. So you can improve your chances. But if you land in New Zealand and you only start your job search processing and start networking, it's going to delay it easily by 3 to 6 months by finding a good job.
Okay. And yeah, and it's important these days that I think that both people in the household are able to earn a good salary. So
yes,
some migrants grab the first job that comes along out of desperation, and I understand why. What questions should they be asking in the interview room to avoid that trap?
There's a few questions. The one question I always ask them is, tell them to ask the question is, what would success look like in 3, 6, and 12 months' time in this position? So that's a determination of what are the problems that are inside the company that have to be resolved in the next months. A very good question is to ask them is, if I had to ask an employee or the employees in the company about the culture, how would you, what would they say about the culture in the company? Because if you ask the boss, he'll tell you what he thinks the culture should be.
Yeah.
But he has to give an honest opinion of his employees. So it's a sort of a question. And then also, how many people have held this role over the last 2 to 3 years? That'll tell you as well, if there's a constant change of people, it's the bosses that are a problem. It's not the employee the problem.
Yeah. But the other thing is, people, as you say, is desperate for that job. And if they find that's probably the only thing that they can do, that will be like they grab the job and just try to get here at the end of the day. So on that note, what would you say to them?
I'd say to them, don't always take the first job. If you have any doubts about the job, about the employer, about the interview, I also advise people to, and that's why I teach people to network on LinkedIn as well. You can easily go to the employees within the company and ask them, invite them for a cyber coffee and ask them about the culture of the company. Or I'm going for an interview with the company. I'd like to just get your understanding of the culture of the business and the current market and how your sales are and things. And employees are quite often open to helping you. And also they get to know you. And the big thing in New Zealand is the employer doesn't necessarily make the decision to employ you. A lot of times it's the employees are asked as well, would you work with this person? Because team fit and culture fit are way more important than your skills in this country.
Oh, yeah. That's a good thing that you said. I fully agree with you. We've got a few minutes left, so can you quickly share a success story? Someone who applied with your program and saw a game-changing result?
Got quite a few examples, but I'll go through them quickly as we're time limited. There was one guy, I was sitting training him on LinkedIn, and with that, he connected with a guy while we were sitting there working. The guy accepted his request, and he said to him, I'd like to have a chat with you shortly. When can we meet? And within 2 weeks, he had a job offer. So if you're active in networking, you can do that. There's another guy, another example, sort of on the upper end of the scale, is he was working on LinkedIn. And because he was operating on LinkedIn, the companies in South Africa started noticing him. And he got the most amazing job offer. He had 2 or 3 smaller job offers, which he wasn't interested in. And then he got this fantastic job offer. And he decided to take this job to get the 2 years experience, which he at a really good salary. And he then postponed his immigration by 2 years just to take on this fantastic job at a really good salary, a good experience. And that allowed him then to come here more financially stable as well. So even if you're not looking to migrate, you can even use this whole process that I use to find a better job in your own country.
So if someone is listening and thinking this sounds great, but what's the catch? What common myth or objection would you like to bust right
now? What you put in is what you get out. My whole core consultants, core stands for change through ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And I teach you to fish. I'm not a recruiter, so I don't give you a fish or promise to give you a fish. That's the last thing I do is promise to find you a job. But what I do is I teach you to fish. And I teach you how to take ownership of your future career and your future migration. I teach you the responsibilities that you need to take and I hold you accountable for your progress. But in the end, it's what you put in is what you will get out.
All right. You promised us some discounts for people and some free time because you are here this morning. So I'll leave it in your hands. You can tell them what they can get.
I can. What I'd like to do, anybody on this in the next 48 hours, anybody who contacts me can get a free 20-minute chat with me, where I go through the step-by-step process of what each module contains and how I work and how we work. And we can have a quick look at your CV and give you some real small pointers on your CV. And then anybody who signs up with me in the next month from for August that has been on this webinar, then will get a 10% discount on my fees.
Oh, nice. And we all like a discount, especially if it's a discount in dollar fees. So yeah.
Yes, definitely.
it makes a big difference. All right, Peter, I'm going to say thank you for being with us this morning. Guys, if you liked what you heard, please click on the YouTube link and subscribe. We don't make money out of YouTube, but we can help more people if more people click the like and subscribe. Peter, any last words from you?
It's the best thing you can ever do, moving your... I did it for my children and my family, and my children are thriving in this environment. And I can recommend it. I did it at 50 years old, so it wasn't, young and energetic. It was a life-changing experience for me, but I would never go back and have any doubts about not doing it. But it's a difficult journey, and I help people. I've got a lot of add-ons I give for free. I've got a whole stress of... I coach people when they get their job. I coach families about the stress of immigration. And I help them with, tick lists for moving across and those kind of things. I have a lot of add-on benefits at the end, which I give for free.
All right. Peter, thank you very much. I'm just going to pop you out and close the program down, and then I'll chat to you again.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Guys, that was Pieter Lemmer. I think it's a good offer, and I believe you could learn a lot from this guy. He's been here for a while. All right, next week, same time, same place. See you then.